Welcome to Big Skywriter, the podcast for storytellers of all shapes and sizes. Whether you write novels, teach classes, or just tell your friends what you did last weekend, if you're a storyteller, this podcast is for you. Here's the host of Big Skywriter, Clint Morey.
My brother and I were raised by my grandmother. Now, she was an incredible blessing to both of us. She wasn't rich. In fact, she was very poor. I can remember a few times when she served us dinner and claimed she wasn't hungry. And then much later, after I had become an adult, I learned the truth. She didn't skip dinner because she wasn't hungry. She did it because there wasn't enough food to feed the three of us. And Grandma made sure that my brother and I were fed, even if it meant she did without. Now, I can also remember one Halloween I had a great night collecting a bag full of candy and treats from the neighbors. It was a great feeling. Until the next day, my grandmother took me aside to talk with me. One of the neighbors on our block told Grandma that I had not said thank you the night before when she gave me candy. Now, Grandma explained the importance of thanking people and sent me down the block to speak to the neighbor. I went up to the house, knocked on the door, and when the woman opened the door, I sincerely thanked her for the treat she had given me the previous night. As I walked home, I felt good. I was glad Grandma had me talk to her. It was the right thing to do, and I've remembered that lesson ever since. Like I said, Grandma was a very special person. Now, there was a man named Mac who was very interested in my grandmother. He wanted to see her and spend time with her, but Grandma was busy taking care of my brother and me. Mac persisted, but my grandmother made it clear that if he wanted to spend time with her, it would only happen if he took all of us to an activity or event. The result? Well, Mac actually got to see her quite a bit, and my brother and I got to visit all kinds of places. Now, even though we were poor, my brother and I regularly went to places like Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, Corriganville, and Pacific Ocean Park. I'm sure we visited more of those places than most well-to-do kids did whose parents had plenty of money. Now, it was great for my brother and I, but I never understood what Mac and my grandma did during those trips. Let me give you a glimpse of how it worked. We would arrive at our destination, say Disneyland, and my brother and I were given a time to meet them for lunch. Then we would go off on our own and have a ball. Then we would meet Grandma and Mac for lunch, and then we would get another time to meet up with them before heading home. My brother and I had a great time, but I always wondered what my grandma and Mac did while we were having fun. They didn't go on rides. They didn't visit Tom Sawyer's Island. They didn't take a ride on the Matterhorn. Finally, I asked her, and Grandma said that she and Mac would find a bench to sit on and watch people. Watch people? How could they spend all day watching people? We were at Disneyland. You don't watch people at Disneyland, you play. Well, let's fast forward a few decades. Okay, maybe add a couple of extra decades while you're at it. Because here's the deal. Now, when I'm in crowded places, it could be a convention or a mall or walks on a busy street, I find that I am fascinated by the people I see. I can't help it. Like my grandmother, I have become a people watcher. Now, there are a number of things I do as I watch people. A lot of times when I see individuals or groups, I make up stories about them. I try to notice what they are focused on and how they interact with people around them. And then, and I can't help this, I create a backstory about their lives. What brought them to this place at this time? What challenges are they facing? What joys? I try to make the stories interesting to me. Perhaps it's because I write a lot, novels and screenplays and short stories. I'm a storyteller, and I love creating stories, even though the stories that I'm making up about these people, I know they're not true, but I have to admit some of the stories I make up are pretty good. And another thing I like to do when I'm people watching is to identify families. I look for common features among them. A daughter who looks exactly like her mother Same body shape, same facial expression, same walk. A son who has the same walk as his dad. A couple of times I've even seen 3 generations, grandma, mom, and granddaughter, walking together, and except for the ages, they look identical. And I find that fascinating. And then there are the hand holders. When I spot a couple strolling by, I can't help but play a little game with myself, trying to decode the silent messages of their body language. Are they truly into each other or just going through the motions? Some pairs walk side by side like they're stuck in a business meeting, while others seem to float in their own little bubble of affection. But my favorite are the hand holders. There's something about that simple gesture that speaks volumes. The way they hold hands can tell a story all its own. There are those who clasp tightly, as if the world might pull them apart if they let go. There are those who have light, easy grips, suggesting a comfort in simply being together. I've seen the ones who intertwine their fingers, almost possessive, like they're saying, "This is mine." And then there are those who just barely touch, fingertips brushing as if testing the water of their connections. It's a fascinating dance to watch, this silent communication. And sometimes I find myself guessing who's more into whom, who's holding on tighter, who's leading, and who's following. It's a fun little game, but I know it's just a glimpse. Love is more than a hand to hold. It's a story written in 1,000 different ways. Another thing that I look for when observing those around me is trying to identify happy people. Now, a smile is a great indicator, but it's not the only one. A person's eyes, their facial expressions, even their walk, sometimes convey a genuine appearance of contentment or joy. And a happy person is a delight to watch. But one of the things I've noticed in my people-watching career is that most people do not appear happy. Some appear sad or depressed or even angry. When you see those people, and you will see a lot of them, don't condemn them. Don't look down on them. I encourage you to pray for them. Pray that they will know the God who loves them and cares for them. And if God gives you the opportunity to interact with some of those people, make it your goal to make a difference in their lives. I'll give you an example. When I'm in a long line waiting to check out of a store and I notice the clerk is not happy or is upset or seems harried, my goal in the moment changes. I no longer focus on seeing if she's going to make an error on my order. Instead, I make it my goal to get her to smile. Maybe to engage in a friendly conversation, to let her know I appreciate the job she is doing. As the Lord gives you opportunities, I encourage you to shine brightly for Him. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus said, "In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." Now, before I go, I'd like to share a blessing with you from the Old Testament. May the Lord bless and protect you. May the Lord's face radiate with joy because of you. May He be gracious to you, show you His favor, and give you His peace. Numbers 6:24-26. Until the next time, be the reason someone smiles today.